"Get out of my house, you useless wreck." My mother's words cut through the Christmas dinner like a blade. I sat there, broken leg throbbing, my cane leaning against the wall, and stared at her. This was supposed to be my homecoming. 10 years I'd served. 10 years I'd sent money home every single month. And this was what I got. "Mom, I said, get out." My sister Sarah stood up. Her face was cold. Empty. She walked around the table, grabbed my arm, and pulled me toward the door. I tried to resist, but my leg gave out. The pain was unbearable. "Sarah, stop." She shoved me. Hard. I stumbled backward through the doorway, onto the icy front steps. My right arm went down first, and I heard it snap before I felt it. The pain exploded through me like fire. I lay there on the frozen ground, looking up at the house I'd paid for. The house I'd kept standing with my military salary while I lived on scraps overseas. Nobody moved. My brother James stood in the doorway, looked at me lying there with a broken arm and a shattered leg, and closed the door. The sound of that door slamming shut echoed in my chest louder than any gunfire I'd heard in combat. I'm Marcus, 32 years old, a decade in the Army, and that Christmas night, my family showed me exactly what I was worth to them. Nothing. I lay there in the snow for what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes. My arm was useless. My leg screamed with every breath. The cold bit into my skin, but I couldn't feel it. All I could feel was a betrayal. A car slowed down on the street. An older man rolled down his window. "You all right, lad?" I tried to speak, but my voice cracked. I need to get to the bus station." He helped me into his car. Didn't ask questions. Just drove. He told me about his son who'd served in the Gulf. How he'd come home different. How the family hadn't understood. "Family's supposed to be there for you," he said quietly. "But sometimes they're not." At the bus station, I used the last of my cash to buy a ticket. There was one bus leaving that night. It went north, toward Scotland, toward my grandmother's farm. I hadn't seen Grandmother Helen in 2 years. Mum always said she was too old, too far, too difficult. But Helen was the only person who'd ever shown me love without conditions. The bus rolled through the dark countryside. Every bump sent fresh pain through my arm. I cradled it against my chest and stared out the window at the passing lights. I'd given them everything. Every paycheck. I'd sent £500 home. At first, Mum said it was for repairs. Then it was for Sarah's university fees. Then James lost his job and needed help. The amount kept growing. 600, 700, 800. I'd taken dangerous assignments just to earn the hazard pay. I'd volunteered for extra patrols. I'd put my life on the line so they could have more. And for what? The bus pulled into a small station just after midnight. My phone was dead. My arm was swelling. I had 17 pounds left in my wallet. A woman at the station desk looked at me with pity. "Where you headed, love?" "Clearwater Farm. Helen Morrison's place." "That's 5 miles out. No taxes this time of night." "I'll walk." She shook her head. "Not in your state. Wait here." She made a call. 20 minutes later, a pickup truck pulled up. A man named Bill, a local farmer who knew Helen. He helped me into the truck without a word, just a firm hand on my shoulder. The drive to the farm felt eternal. Bill glanced at me a few times, but respected my silence. When we pulled up to the farmhouse, a single light glowed in the kitchen window. "You need help getting to the door?" Bill asked. "I've got it. Thank you." He waited until I was on the porch before driving away. I stood there, leaning on my cane, my arm hanging useless at my side. I raised my good hand and knocked. No answer. I knock again, harder this time. Panic started to rise in my chest. What if she wasn't home? What if she'd moved? What if she didn't want me either? Footsteps. The door opened a crack. Grandmother Helen stood there in her dressing gown, her silver hair loose around her shoulders. Her face was hard. "Cold. Go away, Marcus." My heart stopped. Your mother rang. She told me everything. She said you've been stealing from her, that you attacked Sarah, that you become violent since you came back. Tears burned my eyes. That's not true. Gran, please. I don't want trouble here. Go away. She started to close the door. I swayed on my feet, the world tilting. My vision blurred. Gran, I have nowhere else to go. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for whatever she told you, but please. Her expression changed. The hardness cracked. She looked at me properly for the first time. Saw the cane, the way I held my arm, the pain in my face. Oh my God, Marcus. She grabbed me before I fell, pulling me into the house with surprising strength for a woman in her 70s. She guided me to the sofa in the front room and helped me sit down. I'm sorry, she said, her voice shaking. I had to test you. Your mother called 3 hours ago with the lies, and I needed to see for myself. Look at you. What did they do to you? The tears came then. 10 years of holding everything together, and it all broke. I told her everything. The deployment, the accident, the months of recovery, the promises Mum had made about fixing up my room, about welcoming me home, the dinner, the insults, the shove, the fall. Gran's face grew darker with every word. When I finished, she was trembling with rage. My own daughter, she whispered. My own daughter did this to you. She made me tea, strong and sweet. Then she helped me into the spare bedroom. Unlike the storage room Mum had given me, this room had photos of me on the walls, pictures from my passing out parade, a framed letter I'd sent Gran for my first deployment, a quilt in blue and gray, my favorite colors. You're home now, Gran said softly. We'll deal with everything else tomorrow. I slept for 14 hours straight. When I woke, Gran had breakfast ready. Eggs, toast, bacon. Real food, not hospital meals or ration packs. Eat, she said. Then we're going to the doctor. Dr. Morrison, no relation to Gran but a friend of 40 years, saw me that afternoon. He examined my arm, reset the cast, and gave me new painkillers. For my leg, he adjusted my therapy plan. You'll heal, he said, but it'll take time. And work. Over the next few weeks, Gran showed me what real family looked like. She drove me to appointments. She helped me with exercises. She let me work on the farm at my own pace, managing feed schedules and updating her old record books. The horses became my therapy. I couldn't ride yet, but I could care for them, brush them, feed them, talk to them. They didn't judge. They didn't ask for anything but basic care and attention. And they gave back trust. One afternoon, Gran sat me down at the kitchen table with a stack of bank statements. She'd been doing research. Look at this, she said, pointing to the dates. Every month for 10 years, you sent money home. Sometimes £500, sometimes $800. Do you know how much it is total? I shook my head. £73,000. Marcus, 73,000. The number hit me like a punch. And do you know what your mother spent it on? Gran pulled out printed photos from social media. Sarah's Instagram, Mum's Facebook, pictures of holidays in Spain, new furniture, a new car, designer handbags. None of it went to the house, Gran said quietly. None of it went to emergencies or bills. She spent your money on luxuries while you ate rations in the desert. The betrayal cut deeper than the fall, deeper than the broken bones. She used me, I said. Yes, she did. And now she's paying the price. Gran had made some calls. Talked to neighbors back home. Mum's spending had caught up with her. Without my monthly payments, her debts had piled high. The bank had started foreclosure proceedings on the house. Sarah's startup, the one I'd funded with my hazard pay, had collapsed. She'd mismanaged everything and was now working minimum wage at a supermarket. James, who'd relied on Mum's handouts, was drowning in credit card debt. Their world was falling apart, and I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no guilt, just emptiness. They did this to themselves, Gran said. You don't owe them anything anymore. That night, I called my old Army friend Patricia. She'd been my anchor during recovery, someone who understood what it meant to be betrayed by family. "How are you holding up?" she asked. "Better. Gran's place is good for me. I'm healing." "And your mum?" "Haven't spoken to her since that night." "Good. Keep it that way. Marcus, people like that. They'll drain you dry and blame you when there's nothing left." Patricia had cut off her own family years ago. Built a new life. New relationships based on respect, not obligation. "You taught me that family isn't about blood," I said. "It's about who shows up when you're broken." "Damn right." We talked for an hour. About recovery. About the future. About building something real, instead of chasing approval from people who'd never give it. 6 months passed. Spring came to Scotland. The farm bloomed with new life, and so did I. My arm healed completely. My legs still ache on cold days, but I could walk without the cane most of the time. Gran taught me everything about running the farm. How to manage breeding schedules. How to negotiate with buyers. How to handle the books. She was getting older, she said. She needed someone to take over eventually. "You're good at this," she said one afternoon as we watched the horses graze. "Better than you ever were at taking orders." I smiled. I spent 10 years following orders. Nice to make my own decision for once. That evening, my phone rang. Mum's name flashed on the screen. The first time she'd called since Christmas. I stayed it for a long moment, then answered. "What do you want?" Her voice was strained. "Desperate. Marcus, I need your help. Sarah's in trouble. Her business failed and creditors are coming after her. You have your veterans benefits. You could help her out. It's family." The word family tasted like poison. "I don't have a sister," I said. My voice was calm. "Cold. And I don't have a mother anymore either." "Marcus, please. I know we made mistakes, but..." "You threw me out in the snow with a broken leg." Sarah shoved me down the stairs. James stood there and watched. "You called me useless. A burden. Remember?" Silence on the other end. "You spent £73,000 of my money on holidays and handbags while I lived on rations and risked my life. And you want me to help Sarah now. We are family." "No, we are not. Family doesn't do what you did. Family doesn't throw away someone who sacrificed everything for them." I could hear her crying now. Actual tears. But they didn't move me. "Goodbye, Mum." I hung up, blocked the number, and felt a weight lift off my shoulders. Gran was in the kitchen when I came back in. She looked at me, eyebrows raised. That was Mum. Wanted me to bail out Sarah. And I said no. Gran nodded slowly, then smiled. "Good lad." That night, I slept better than I had in 10 years. The news filtered back to us slowly. Neighbors who knew Gran would call with updates. Mum had lost the house. She'd moved into a small flat on the rough side of town. The car was repossessed. The furniture sold off to pay debts. Sarah had filed for bankruptcy. She was living in a bedsit, working 2 minimum wage jobs to survive. James had been evicted from his flat. He was sofa surfing with friends, but the friends were running out of patience. Their lives had crumbled, not because I'd done anything to them, but because without my money propping them up, the house of cards collapsed. "Do you feel guilty?" Gran asked me one evening. I thought about it. Really thought about it. "No," I said finally. They made their choices. They spent money they didn't earn. They treated me like an ATM instead of a son, a brother. They got what they deserved. And you? What do you deserve? I looked around the farm, at the horses in the field, at the house that had become more of a home in 6 months than my childhood house ever was, at Gran, who'd given me unconditional love and support when I had nothing left. This, I said, I deserve this. Spring turned to summer. I enrolled in agricultural courses online, using my veterans' education benefits to build a real future. Not the future Mum had planned for me. Not the future the Army had mapped out. My future. Patricia visited in July. She'd left the service too, started a new life in civilian work. We sat on Gran's porch, drinking tea and watching the sunset. "You look different," she said. "Good, different." "I feel different. Lighter, somehow." That's what happens when you cut out the poison. She was right. For 10 years, I'd carried the weight of their expectations, their demands, their constant need for more. Without it, I could breathe. "Do you ever think about reaching out?" Patricia asked, trying to fix things. "No, some things can't be fixed. Some things shouldn't be." She nodded. "Took me 5 years to learn that. You're smarter than I was." We sat in comfortable silence, watching the sky turn purple and orange. In the distance, one of the horses whinnied. The sound of home. By autumn, I'd taken over most of the farm's daily operations. Gran supervised, but I did the work. And I loved it. The physical labor, the problem-solving, the satisfaction of seeing results from my efforts. One October morning, Gran called me into her office. She had papers spread across the desk. "Sit down, Marcus. We need to talk." My heart sank. Was she sick? Dying? "I'm not ill," she said, reading my face. "But I'm getting old, and I've been thinking about the future." She pushed a folder toward me. "I'm putting the farm in your name. Not when I die. Now, while I'm still here to help you run it properly." I stared at her. "Gran, I can't." "You can. You've earned it. You've worked hard. You've learned fast. And more than that, you've shown me what real character looks like. You could have been bitter, angry, cruel, but you're not. You're building something good." Tears stung my eyes. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Say you'll take care of this place when I'm gone. Say you'll make it something to be proud of. Yes. Good. Yes. Thank you, Gran. She smiled, that warm smile that had been my anchor through everything. "You're welcome, love. Now let's get these papers sorted." That evening, I walked the farm's borders. 200 acres of Scottish countryside, rolling hills, stone walls, good grazing land. It was mine now, really mine, not stolen, not borrowed, not dependent on anyone's approval. Mine. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. I almost deleted it, but curiosity got the better of me. It was James. "Marcus, I know you don't want to hear from me, but I need you to know I'm sorry. I should have stood up for you that night. I should have stopped Sarah. I was a coward. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know." I read it 3 times. Looked for the angle, the manipulation, the request for money that would surely follow. But it ended there. Just an apology. No asking for anything. I thought about responding. Thought about what I'd say. Then I put my phone away. Some apologies come too late. Some damage can't be undone. I kept walking. Winter came again. 1 year since that terrible Christmas. Gran and I spent the holiday quietly. Just the 2 of us. Turkey dinner. Terrible Christmas films on the television. Chocolate and tea by the fire. It was perfect. "Are you happy?" Gran asked as we watched the snow fall outside. "Yes," I said, and meant it. No regrets. I thought about it. About the 10 years I'd given. The money I'd sent. The sacrifices I'd made. I regret wasting so much time chasing their approval. But I don't regret cutting them off. That saved me. Gran reached over and squeezed my hand. "You save yourself, Marcus. I just gave you a safe place to land." That night, I stood in the doorway of my bedroom, the one with my photos on the walls, the one that had been waiting for me. I thought about the storage room at Mum's house, the deflated air mattress, the contempt in her eyes, and I realized something. I'd been trying to earn love from people who were incapable of giving it, who saw me as a resource, not a person, who took and took and took until there was nothing left, then threw me away when I was broken. But real love doesn't work that way. Real love is Gran making me tea when I can't sleep. Real love is Patricia calling to check in, even when she's busy. Real love is Bill the farmer driving me to the farm at midnight, No questions asked. Real love is a woman at the bus station making phone calls to help a stranger. Those people, strangers and friends, had shown me more love in one night than my own family had in 32 years. And that was a lesson. Family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up, who stays, who lifts you when you're down and celebrates with you when you rise. I'd found my family, and it wasn't the one I was born into. Spring came around again. The farm was thriving. I'd made improvements, modernized some systems, built new relationships with buyers. The horses were healthy. The books were balanced. Life was good. One morning, I was fixing a fence post when a car pulled up the drive. Expensive. New. Not the kind of car that usually came to a farm. Sarah got out. She looked different. Thinner. Tired. No designer clothes. Just jeans and a plain jacket. She walked toward me slowly, like she was approaching a wild animal. Marcus. I didn't put down my hammer. What do you want? To talk? Please. Just 5 minutes. You've got 3. She flinched but stood her ground. I know I don't deserve your time. I know what we did was unforgivable. But I need to tell you something. I waited. I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. I was selfish. Cruel. I spent your money like it was nothing. I pushed you down those days because Mum told me to, and I was too weak to say no. I've spent the last year hitting rock bottom, losing everything, and I finally understand what I did to you. Good for you, I said flatly. Is that all? I'm not asking for money or forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I know. I know what we took from you, and I'm sorry. I studied her face, looked for the lie, the manipulation, but all I saw was exhaustion and genuine remorse. You're right, I said. You don't deserve forgiveness, and you're not getting it. What you did to me was unforgivable, but I appreciate the apology. It doesn't change anything, but I appreciate it. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. That's fair. That's more than fair. I wanted you to know. Mum still doesn't understand what she did wrong. James is starting to, but slowly. But I get it now, and I'm sorry. She turned to leave, then stopped. You look good. Happy. I'm glad. You deserve that. I watched her drive away. Felt nothing. No anger. No satisfaction. Nothing. Gran came out of the house. Who was that? Sarah. She apologized. And nothing. She can be sorry all she wants. Doesn't change what happened. Gran nodded. Good. Don't let her worm her way back in. I won't. But something shifted that day. Not forgiveness. Not reconciliation. Just closure. The anger I'd been carrying, the rage of their betrayal, it started to fade. Not because Sarah apologized, but because I realized I didn't need anything from them anymore. Not apologies, not acknowledgement, not validation. I had everything I needed right here. By summer, the farm was making real profit. I'd expanded into training services, offering riding lessons and horse therapy sessions. Patricia came up to help set up the therapy program. She trained in it after leaving the service. You're building something amazing here, she said as we watched a young girl with autism gently brush one of the horses. You're helping people. We are helping people, I corrected. Couldn't have done this without you. She smiled. That's what real family does. They build things together. The girl's mother approached us, tears in her eyes. Thank you. She hasn't spoken to anyone in weeks, but she's talking to the horse. Patricia squeezed my shoulder. This is what matters. This right here. She was right. Autumn brought changes. Gran's health started to decline. Nothing serious, just age catching up with her. I took over more of the physical work, and she focused on the business side. You're ready? She said one evening. Even if I wasn't here, you'd keep this place running. Don't talk like that. I'm not being morbid. I'm being realistic. And proud. You've exceeded every expectation I had. On my birthday, Gran threw a small party. Just a few locals, Patricia, Dr. Morrison, Bill the farmer, and some of the therapy clients. Nothing fancy. Just cake and tea and good conversation. As I looked around the room, I realized this was what I'd been searching for all along. Not approval from people who'd never give it, but genuine connection with people who valued me. That night, after everyone had gone, Gran and I sat on the porch. "Do you think about them?" she asked. "Your mother and siblings?" "Sometimes, but not with anger anymore. More like distant curiosity, like they are characters in a story I read once." "That's healthy. You've moved on." "I have, and it feels good." She patted my hand. "I'm proud of you, Marcus, not just for the farm, for how you've handled everything. You could have become bitter, vengeful, but you chose growth instead. I learned from the best." We sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars come out. 2 years after that terrible Christmas, I stood in the same field where I had first walked the farm's borders. So much had changed. The farm was thriving. I had a community, a purpose, real relationships built on mutual respect. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me. "Marcus Morrison." "Speaking." "This is the Riverside Hospital. Your mother, Susan Morrison, was admitted 3 hours ago. Heart attack. She's stable now, but she's asking for you." My chest tightened. "I see. She's in room 304. Visiting hours until 8. "Thank you." I stood there, phone in hand, staring at nothing. Gran came out of the house. "Everything all right?" "Mom's in hospital. Heart attack." Gran's expression didn't change. "Are you going?" "I don't know. Should I?" She shook her head. "I can't answer that for you. But I'll tell you this. You don't owe her anything. If you go, go because you want to, not because you think you should." I thought about it all day. Paced the fields. Talked to the horses. Called Patricia. "What does your gut tell you?" Patricia asked. "That I don't want to go. That I don't want to open that door again." "Then don't. You're allowed to protect yourself. You're allowed to say no." "But what if she dies? What if I regret not going?" "Do you think you will regret it?" I considered it honestly. "No, I don't think I will." "Then there's your answer." That evening, I called the hospital back. "This is Marcus Morrison. Regarding Susan Morrison, I won't be visiting, but please tell her I hope she recovers." The nurse sounded surprised but professional. "I'll let her know." I hung up and felt peace wash over me. Not guilt, not regret. Peace. I'd made my choice. I'd set my boundary, and I was sticking to it. Gran smiled when I told her. "Good lad. Take strength to say no." 3 days later, another call. This time from James. "Mum's out of hospital. She wants to talk to you." "No. Marcus, please. She almost died. Can't you just?" "No. I'm sorry she was ill. I'm glad she's recovering. But we have nothing to say to each other." "She's your mother." "No. She stopped being my mother the night she threw me out. Mothers don't do that. Mothers don't spend years using their children as ATMs. I wish her well, but I'm not part of her life anymore." James was silent for a long moment. "I understand. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. For everything." "I know. Sarah told me, and I appreciate it. But it doesn't change anything." "I know. Take care of yourself. Marcus." "You too." I hung up feeling lighter. Each conversation, each boundary I set, I felt freer. Spring came around again. 3 years since that Christmas. The farm hosted its first big event, a charity fundraiser for veteran mental health. Patricia had organized it with me, bringing together former soldiers and their families. The turnout was incredible. Over 100 people. Local media covered it. We raised £15,000 for the charity. As I gave a speech about recovery and finding purpose after service, I looked out at the crowd, saw faces of people who understood, who'd struggled and survived. who'd built new lives from the ashes of old ones. I spent 10 years in the army, I said, and when I came home broken, the people I thought would catch me let me fall. But I learned something important. Family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up, who stays, who helps you build something new when everything else falls apart. The applause was deafening. Afterward, a young veteran approached me, early 20s, haunted eyes. Thank you for your speech. I'm dealing with something similar. My family doesn't understand. They think I should just get over it. I put a hand on his shoulder. You're not alone, and you don't owe them your recovery. Focus on yourself. Find your people, the ones who get it. He nodded, tears in his eyes. Thank you. Patricia came over as he walked away. You're making a real difference. We are together. That night, Gran and I celebrated with a quiet dinner. Just the two of us and a bottle of wine. I'm proud of everything you've built, she said. This farm, the therapy program, the charity work. But mostly, I'm proud of who you've become. I couldn't have done it without you. Maybe, but you did the work. You made the choices. You chose growth over bitterness. I had a good teacher. She laughed. Flattery will get you everywhere. As we clinked glasses, I felt complete. Oh, not despite what happened, but because of how I'd responded to it. 4 years later, I received a letter, handwritten, from Mum. I almost threw it away unopened. But curiosity won. Dear Marcus, I know I have no right to contact you. I know what we did was unforgivable. I've spent years trying to justify our actions, to blame you, to make it somehow your fault. But I can't anymore. I was wrong. We were all wrong. We used you. We took advantage of your love and your loyalty. We threw you away when you needed us most. And we've paid the price. I'm not writing to ask for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm writing because I need you to know that I know what I did. And I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. I hear you've done well. The farm is thriving. You're helping veterans. You've built a good life. I'm glad. You deserve every bit of happiness you found. I don't expect a response. I just needed to say it. Mom, I read it twice, then folded it carefully and put it in a drawer. Gran watched from the doorway. What will you do? Nothing. She said she doesn't expect a response, and she's not getting one. But I'll keep the letter. Maybe one day it'll mean something more. Right now, it's just words. You're wise beyond your years. I learned from experience, the hard way. That autumn, on what would have been my father's birthday, I asked Gran about him. What was he really like? Mum always said he was weak, unreliable. Gran's face softened. Your father was kind. Too kind for your mother, perhaps. He couldn't handle her manipulation, her constant demands. So he left. I always thought he was a coward for leaving you children behind. But now I wonder if he just couldn't fight anymore. Do you know where he is? Last I heard, he remarried, lives in Wales, has a new family. Good. I hope he's happy. And I meant it. I understood now. Sometimes leaving is the only way to survive. Sometimes you have to save yourself, even if it means leaving others behind. 5 years after that terrible Christmas, the farm hosted its annual charity event. It had become a major fixture in the community, raising over £50,000 each year. As I stood on the stage, looking out at the crowd, I saw faces I knew, friends I'd made, lives I'd touched, and I realized something. This was my revenge. Not hurting them, not making them suffer, but building a life so good, so full, so meaningful that their betrayal became irrelevant. They tried to break me, and instead, I become stronger. That evening, as the last guest left and the sun set over the fields, Patricia, Gran, and I sat on the porch. You did it, Patricia said. You built something amazing. We did it, I corrected. All of us. Gran raised a glass. To family, the real kind. We clinked glasses and watched the stars come out. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. This is Sarah. I saw the news coverage of your event. I'm proud of you, even though I have no right to be. You're doing incredible things. I won't bother you again. I just wanted you to know. I showed it to Gran and Patricia. Will you respond? Gran asked. No, but I appreciate it. Patricia nodded. You've moved on. That's what matters. She was right. I had moved on. Not by forgetting, not by forgiving, but by building something so good that the past couldn't touch it. As autumn deepened, Gran's health took a turn. Nothing dramatic, just a gradual slowing down. She spent more time in her chair, less time walking the fields. It's time, she said one October morning. Time for what? Time for you to run this place without me hovering. I'll still be here, but it's your farm now. Truly yours. Gran, I'm not dying tomorrow, but I'm old, and I'm tired, and I've done my bit. Now it's your turn. Make me proud. I will. I promise. That winter, Gran passed away peacefully in her sleep. She was 87. She'd lived a full life, and she died knowing the farm she loved was in good hands. At her funeral, the church was packed. She'd touched so many lives, been there for so many people. As I gave the eulogy, I talked about love. Real love. Unconditional love. My grandmother taught me that family isn't about blood. I said, it's about who shows up, who stays, who loves you without conditions. She showed me that every day. And because of her, I learned to build the life I wanted instead of chasing approval from people who'd never give it. The service was beautiful, simple, exactly what you would have wanted. Afterward, Patricia stayed behind. You okay? I will be. She lived well, and she knew I loved her. That's enough. She was proud of you. She told me once that you'd exceeded every hope she had. She saved my life. I'll never forget that. 6 years after that terrible Christmas, I stood in the same spot where I'd first arrived at Gran's farm. Broken, betrayed, lost. Now I stood here whole. The farm was mine. Fully, legally, emotionally. I'd expanded it, improved it, made it profitable and purposeful. The therapy program had helped over 300 veterans find peace. The charity events had raised hundreds of thousands of pounds. I'd built something that mattered. Patricia had moved to Scotland permanently, becoming my business partner in the therapy program. She'd found her own healing here, just as I had. One spring morning, 7 years after that night, a police officer arrived at the farm. Marcus Morrison. That's me. I need to inform you that your mother, Susan Morrison, passed away last night. Natural causes. You're listed as next of kin. I felt nothing. No grief. No relief. Just emptiness. What do I need to do? There are arrangements to make. Her affairs need settling. She left a will naming you as executor. I almost laughed. After everything, she still expected me to clean up her mess. I'll handle it, I said, but I won't be attending the funeral. The officer nodded, unsurprised. I'll pass that along to your siblings. After he left, I called Patricia. Mum died. How do you feel? Nothing. Is that wrong? No. You grieved that relationship years ago. You're allowed to feel nothing now. She was right. I'd mourned the mother I'd wanted, the family I'd needed long ago. This was just closing a door that had already been shut. The will was a disaster. Mum had debts totaling £40,000. Her flat was rented. She owned nothing of value. Sarah and James expected me to cover the funeral costs. I sent a simple email to the solicitor handling the estate. I will not be covering any costs. I will not be attending the funeral. Split any remaining assets between Sarah and James. I want nothing. Sarah called me within an hour. Marcus, please. We can't afford a proper funeral. She's our mother. She was your mother. Mine died 7 years ago when she threw me out in the snow. That's cruel. No, cruel is what she did to me. This is just honesty. You have two choices. Pool your money for a funeral or let the state handle it. Either way, I'm not involved. After everything she did for you, everything she did for me? You mean spending the £73,000 I sent her? You mean calling me useless? You mean letting me fall on ice with a broken leg? That's what she did for me. Silence. I'm sorry, Marcus. I know we were horrible. I just thought. I don't know what I thought. You thought I'd roll over like I always did. But I'm not that person anymore. Take care of yourself. Sarah. I hung up. The funeral happened without me. I heard from a distant cousin that it was small. Just Sarah, James, and a handful of church members. No eulogy. No celebration of life. Just a quick service and a cremation. Fitting, really. That summer, Patricia and I expanded the therapy program to include family counseling for veterans. We'd seen too many good soldiers struggling with families who didn't understand. During one session, a young woman named Claire broke down. My parents think I should just get over it. They say I'm being dramatic about my PTSD. They want me to stop taking medication and just pray harder. I knew that pain, that dismissal, that isolation. You're not being dramatic, I said, and you don't owe them your recovery. Focus on yourself. Find people who understand. Build your own family if you have to. She looked at me with tears streaming down her face. Is that what you did? Yes, and it saved my life. After the session, she approached me privately. Thank you. I thought I was weak for wanting to cut them off, but hearing your story, it helps. You're not weak. You're surviving. And sometimes survival means letting go of people who hurt you, even if they are family. She nodded, something shifting in her expression. Relief. Permission. 8 years after that Christmas, I received an unexpected visitor. A man in his 60s, silver hair, nervous hands. Can I help you? I asked. Marcus? I'm David. Your father. The world tilted. I stared at the stranger who shared my eyes, my jawline, my height. What do you want? I heard about your mother. I heard you didn't go to the funeral. I wanted to explain, to apologize, for leaving, for everything, for being too weak to fight for you, for abandoning you to her. I gestured to the porch. Sit. We sat in silence for a long moment. He looked old, tired, haunted. I was young when I married your mother, he said finally. 22. She was charming at first, but after you were born, she changed. Everything became a transaction. Love for obedience. Affection for performance. I tried to protect you, but she wore me down. Every day was a battle. Every decision a negotiation. I couldn't breathe. So you left. So I left. I'm not proud of it. I should have taken you with me. But she threatened to destroy me in court, to claim abuse, to make sure I never saw you again. I was a coward, and I ran, and I regretted it every day since. I studied his face, saw genuine remorse, genuine pain. I forgive you, I said. He looked up, shocked. What? I forgive you. You were trapped just like I was. You escaped the only way you could. I understand that now. Tears rolled down his face. I don't deserve that. Maybe not, but I'm not forgiving you for you. I'm forgiving you for me. I don't want to carry that anger anymore. We talked for hours. He told me about his new life. His wife, Margaret. His 2 daughters, my half-sisters. How he'd wanted to reach out so many times, but convinced himself it was too late. It's not too late now, I said. If you want to be in my life, you can be, but on my terms. No obligations, no expectations, just honesty. I'd like that, very much. David became a regular visitor. Once a month, he'd drive up from Wales. We'd walk the farm, talk about life, slowly build something new. It wasn't the father-son relationship I'd wanted as a child, but it was real, and that was enough. 9 years after that terrible Christmas, the farm celebrated its biggest achievement yet. The therapy program won a national award for veteran mental health support. The ceremony was in London, at a fancy hotel with politicians and celebrities. Patricia and I stood on stage, accepting the award. I looked out the crowd and saw David in the third row, beaming with pride. Saw old army friends who'd come to support us. Saw therapy clients who'd become friends. This award isn't just for us, I said into the microphone. It's for every veteran who struggled to find their place after service. For everyone who's been told to just get over it. For everyone who's had to build a new family because their old one failed them. This is for all of us. The applause was thunderous. Backstage, a journalist approached me. Mr. Morrison, your story is remarkable. From homeless veteran to award-winning therapist and farm owner. What's your secret? No secret. Just stubbornness. And knowing when to walk away from people who hurt you, even if they're family. That's controversial advice. Maybe, but it's honest. Not everyone deserves a place in your life, and you're allowed to choose yourself. The article ran the next week. Within days, my phone was flooded with messages from people thanking me. Veterans who'd cut off toxic families. People who'd been guilted into maintaining relationships that destroyed them. They'd found permission in my words. Validation. I'd become accidentally famous. Not for serving, not for surviving, but for choosing myself. 10 years after that Christmas, I stood at the edge of the farm as snow began to fall. The same snow that had covered the ground the night I'd been thrown out. But this time, I stood in it by choice. Patricia joined me, 2 mugs of hot chocolate in hand. Penny for your thoughts. Just thinking about how far I've come, how different life is now. Regrets? Only one. I wish I'd left sooner. Wish I'd seen the truth earlier. But then again, if I had, I might not have ended up here. Everything happened for a reason. Maybe, or maybe we just find reasons in everything that happens. Either way, I'm grateful. We stood in comfortable silence, watching the snow blanket the fields. Do you ever think about them? Patricia asked. Your mother, your siblings? Sometimes, but not with pain anymore. More like remembering a movie I watched once. It feels distant, unreal. That's healthy. I hope so. My phone buzzed. A message from James. I know you probably won't read this, but I wanted you to know I'm getting help. Therapy, I'm facing what we did to you. I'm not asking for forgiveness. Just wanted you to know I'm trying to be better. I showed Patricia. What do you think? I think it doesn't matter what I think. What do you want to do? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Then I type a simple response. I'm glad you're getting help. I wish you well. Take care of yourself. Short. Neutral. No promises. No reopening of doors. Just basic human decency. That's growth, Patricia said after I sent it. Is it? Sometimes I wonder if I should feel more. Forgive more. You've forgiven enough. You don't owe anyone more than you're willing to give. She was right. As always, that evening, David called. Marcus, I have a favor to ask. Go on. Your half-sisters, Emma and Lucy. They want to meet you. They've known about you for years. And they're curious. No pressure, but would you be open to it? I hesitated. More family, more complications, more potential hurt, but also potentially more connection, more love. Okay, but here, on my territory, and just for lunch. See how it goes. That's fair. Thank you. 2 weeks later, Emma and Lucy arrived. They were young. 19 and 21. Nervous. Excited. We've heard so much about you, Emma said. Dad talks about you all the time. All good things, I hope. Amazing things. He's really proud of what you've built here. We spent the afternoon showing them around the farm. They loved the horses, asked endless questions about the therapy program, shared stories about their own lives. They were good kids. Kind. Genuine. As they were leaving, Lucy hugged me. Thank you for giving us a chance. I know we're basically strangers, but I hope we can be friends. Maybe even family, eventually. I'd like that, I said, and meant it. After they left, Patricia found me in the barn. How'd it go? Good. Really good. They're nice. Normal. Nothing like, like your mother? Yeah, it's weird. They are my sisters, but they feel more like family than Sarah ever did. Because they don't want anything from you. They just want to know you. Exactly. Over the next year, Emma and Lucy became regular visitors. We built a genuine relationship. No strings. No demands. Just mutual respect and growing affection. David's wife, Margaret, visited too. She was warm, kind, everything my mother wasn't. I'm glad David found you again, she said during one visit. He's talked about you for 20 years. The son he lost. He's happier now, knowing you in his life. I'm glad too. It's strange, building a relationship with him now. But good strange. Family is complicated, but it doesn't have to be toxic. Sometimes you just need the right people. 11 years after that terrible Christmas, I received a call from Sarah. I almost didn't answer, but something made me. Marcus, I need to tell you something. Her voice was different, calmer, more mature. I'm listening. I've been in therapy for 3 years, working through everything, and my therapist suggested I call you, not to ask for anything, just to make amends. If you're willing to listen. I'm listening. What we did to you is unforgivable. I've spent years justifying it, blaming you, convincing myself you deserved it somehow. But you didn't. You gave us everything, and we threw you away like garbage. I was cruel, selfish, and I'm deeply, truly sorry. Silence hung between us. I'm not asking for forgiveness, she continued. I don't deserve it, and I'm not asking to be in your life. I just needed you to know that I know what I did, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be better, to be the person I should have been. Thank you, I said finally. I appreciate the apology, truly, but you're right. I can't forgive you, not because I'm angry anymore, but because what happened changed me, and I can't go back to who I was. I understand. I hope you're happy. Marcus, you deserve all the happiness in the world. I am happy, and I hope you find peace with yourself. Thank you. Goodbye, Marcus. Goodbye, Sarah. I hung up feeling lighter, not because I'd forgiven her, but because the conversation had given me what Gran had always talked about. Closure. Patricia found me sitting on the porch. Sarah. Yeah, she apologized. Properly this time. How do you feel? Okay. I don't forgive her, but I don't hate her either. I just don't feel much of anything. That's okay. You don't have to feel anything. Is it wrong that I don't care? No. You build a life without them. They are not relevant anymore. That's healthy. She was right. They were no longer relevant. Not my mother. Not Sarah. Not James. They were characters in a story that had ended, and I'd written a new one. 12 years after that terrible Christmas, the farm hosted its biggest event yet, a 3-day veteran wellness festival. Over 500 attendees. Workshops, therapy sessions, community building. As I opened the festival with a speech, I looked out at the sea of faces. Veterans, families, supporters, people who'd found healing here, people who'd found purpose. 12 years ago, I said, I was thrown out of my family's home with a broken leg and a broken heart. I had nothing. No money, no plan, no hope. But I found my way here, to this farm, to these people, and I learned something important. I paused, gathering my thoughts. I learned that the worst thing that ever happened to me was also the best thing, because it forced me to let go of people who were destroying me. It forced me to build something new, something real. Something that matters. And now, standing here, I can honestly say I'm grateful, not for the pain, but for what the pain taught me. The crowd was silent, listening. You don't owe anyone your suffering. You don't owe anyone your loyalty if they don't earn it. And you don't owe anyone forgiveness if they don't deserve it. What you owe yourself is a chance to heal, to grow, to build a life worth living. That's what this place is about. That's what we are all doing here. The applause started slow, then built, then became deafening. After my speech, dozens of people approached me, sharing their own stories, their own betrayals, their own journeys to healing. "Thank you," a woman in her 50s said. "My family disowned me when I came back from Iraq with PTSD. I thought I was alone. But hearing your story, it helps." "You're not alone," I said. "None of us are. That's the point." That evening, as the festival wound down, I sat by the fire with Patricia, David, Emma, and Lucy, my chosen family, my real family. "You built something incredible," David said. "I'm so proud of you." "We built it together," I corrected. "All of us." Emma leaned against my shoulder. "I'm glad we are part of your family." "Me too." As the fire crackled and the stars came out, I realized something. I'd spent 10 years trying to earn love from people who couldn't give it, and I'd spent the next 12 years learning to accept love from people who offered it freely. That was the difference. That was everything. 13 years after that terrible Christmas, I received a package. No return address. Just my name and the farm's address. Inside was a photograph. Old. Faded. It showed me as a child, maybe 5 years old, sitting on my father's shoulders. Both of us were laughing. Happy. On the back, in handwriting I didn't recognize, was a note. "Found this in Mum's things after she died. Thought you might want it. She kept it all these years, hidden in a book. Maybe she did love you, in her own broken way. Maybe she just didn't know how to show it. James." I stared at the photo for a long time, trying to remember that day, trying to remember feeling loved by her. I couldn't, but I kept the photo, not because it changed anything, but because it was proof that once, maybe, things could have been different. Patricia found me holding it. "What's that?" "A memory, or the ghost of one." "Does it change anything?" "No, but it's still worth keeping." I put the photo in a drawer, closed it, and walked outside into the sunshine. 14 years after that terrible Christmas, I sat in a solicitor's office in Edinburgh. They'd called me about an inheritance. From Gran's estate, they said, though Gran had been dead for years. "Your grandmother had a trust," the solicitor explained, "set up years before she died. It's been accruing value, and now it's reached the trigger point she specified." "What trigger point?" "The 15th anniversary of the night you arrive at her farm. December 24th next year. She wanted you to receive this then, but there's a letter I'm authorized to give you now." He handed me an envelope, Gran's handwriting. I opened it with shaking hands. "My dearest Marcus, if you're reading this, it means 15 years have passed since that terrible Christmas. It means you survived. You've thrived. You've built something beautiful. I'm so proud of you. This trust contains the proceeds from selling some land I own separately from the farm. It's enough to expand your therapy program, to help more veterans, to build something even bigger than what we started. But there's a condition. You must use part of it to do something just for you. Something frivolous. Something that brings you joy. Promise me. You spent so many years sacrificing for people who didn't appreciate it. Don't make that mistake again. Help others, yes, but help yourself too. I love you, my dear boy. I always have. From the moment you arrived broken on my doorstep, I loved you, and I know, wherever I am now, I'm still proud of you. Live well, love freely, and remember, family is who you choose. All my love, Gran." I couldn't read the rest through my tears. The solicitor waited patiently. Finally, I looked up. "How much?" £250,000. I sat back, stunned. Gran had been quietly wealthy, and I'd never known. She'd lived simply, worked the farm, never showed any sign of money, and she'd saved it all for me. "There's one more thing," the solicitor said. "She left instructions for the money to be split if you'd reconciled with your mother. But her will specifies that if you've chosen to stay separate, then you get it all. She said it would prove you'd chosen wisely. I laughed through my tears. Even in death, Gran was looking out for me. I chose wisely, I said. She knew you would. That evening, I gathered my chosen family. Patricia, David, Emma, Lucy, and a few close friends from the farm. I told them about Gran's gift. What will you do with it? Patricia asked. Build a new therapy center. A proper building with rooms for overnight stays. Space for more programs. Everything we've dreamed about. And the frivolous part. Emma asked, grinning. I'm taking all of you on holiday. Somewhere warm. Somewhere with beaches. Gran's orders. We toasted to Gran. To her wisdom. To her love. To everything she'd given me. 15 years after that terrible Christmas, on December 24th, I stood at Gran's grave. Snow fell softly, just like that night. I did it, Gran, I said to the headstone. I built the life you wanted for me. I'm happy, really, truly happy, and I'm grateful for everything. The wind picked up, swirling the snow around me. For a moment, I could almost feel her presence, her approval. I placed flowers on her grave, white roses, her favorite. Thank you, I whispered, for saving me, for showing me what love looks like, for teaching me that family is choice. As I walked back to my car, my phone rang. Emma, Marcus, where are you? We are all waiting. You said you'd be here an hour ago. I smiled. Sorry, lost track of time. Be there in 10 minutes. Hurry up. Lucy made your favorite cake, and we are all starving. I drove back to the farm where lights glowed warm in every window. Through the glass, I could see them. Patricia setting the table. David carving a turkey. Emma and Lucy arguing playfully about something. My chosen family. My real family. I sat in the car for a moment, taking it in. 15 years ago, I'd been thrown out into the snow. Broken. Betrayed. Convinced I was worthless. Now I had this. Love without conditions. Family without strings. A life I built from nothing. That was my revenge. Not hurting them. Not destroying them. But proving that they were wrong about me. Building something so beautiful that their betrayal became irrelevant. I got out of the car and walked toward the house. Toward the warmth. Toward home. As I reached the door, I paused. Looked back at the snow-covered fields, at the farm that had saved me, at the life I created, and I smiled, because sometimes losing everything is the only way to find what really matters. Sometimes the people who throw you away do you the biggest favor. Sometimes the worst night of your life is the beginning of your best years. I opened the door and walked into the warmth, into the laughter, into the love. And I never looked back, because I didn't need to. I was finally home.